Live now to Taree. Pete Stefanovic joins us once again. Pete?
Yeah, good morning to you, Laura. There was the catastrophic warnings were in place, as we know, for much of the Sydney Greater region and also the Hunter region yesterday, where fires did take off late in the day, and there were dramatic pictures that emerged from that Hunter region as well, and now police are investigating whether or not one of those fires may have been deliberately lit. I want to bring in Cessnock Mayor Bob Pynsent now. Bob, good morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us. First of all, I just want your reaction to those fires that took off yesterday.
Just an amazing day, just terrible weather conditions, and these houses here in North Rothbury have been so lucky that they haven't been completely burnt.
Yeah, well, how severe were they, Bob? Can you elaborate on the seriousness of the threat?
Well, the main fire would only have been 20 metres across the road. It's jumped the road, and these houses are built right at the front of these blocks, and they're certainly exposed, and the visual spot fires have surrounded these houses, and some of the fire has been underneath the houses, yet the fireys have worked magnificently to save these buildings.
Yeah, I mean, just talk a bit more about that, Bob. The firefighters, just extraordinary, you know, not just in your area, but right around the state. But just let's focus on your area at the moment. I think one or two of those firefighters may have suffered from some kind of exhaustion. Can you talk about the bravery of them?
That's right, and we, as a community, thank the emergency services for the diligence they show, and I've spoken to a number of residents here this morning, and they're nothing but so grateful, because without the work of the emergency services, these houses would have been lost, and our community owes so much to them. And I noticed from a news clip that it was the local North Rothbury Brigade here trying to save these houses right in their backyard, and that's so important because those firefighters know this area so well and probably understand the risk of this heavy bush across the road from these houses.
Yeah, Bob, some reporting around this morning suggesting that that fire in your area may have been deliberately lit. What can you tell us about that?
I have no details of that, but if that's true, that's absolutely disgusting, because our community needs to stay safe, and people acting irresponsibly like that need to be dealt with.
So you don't know. Have you heard of those reports? Have the police told you anything about that may well have been happening?
No, I haven't spoken to the police this morning or last night, but as I say, that's just not something that our community accepts, and we've had the instance before of deliberately lit fires last year, and it's just something the community does not tolerate.
All right, Bob, has the threat eased?
Very much so. The weather conditions are far different. There's virtually no wind. Yesterday afternoon, the winds were extremely strong. The weather was so dry, and all the ingredients there for a fire. And we weren't expecting that there could be ideas of deliberately lit fires.
Bob, so much talk at the moment about hazard reduction, about back burning. Are you convinced that there has been enough in place?
I think we can always have extra hazard reduction. Our area is completely surrounded by bush right throughout our local government area, and we need a very active hazard reduction program to reduce the dangers to the people that live within the Cessnock LGA.
So at the moment it's not where it should be, is that what you're saying?
That's right. This area particularly is surrounded by bush, and it's quite dangerous, and yesterday proved that.
So what can you learn, Bob? What can you learn from the fires that you've just spoken about moving forward?
I think we as a council have communicated really well with the community, making them aware of the dangers, what to do and when to move. And if you move, we have set up emergency facilities for the people and for animals as well. So we had a livestock facility available in Cessnock yesterday for people who had horses and other animals that needed protection.
Bob, just on the hazard reduction, what is the shortfall? How much more needs to be done, do you believe?
I think rural fire services assess the danger of various bush areas, and it's more the spending of funds to instigate that hazard reduction, and that's not happening at this point. I mean, in our area we have one.
Sorry, Bob, go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say, in terms of perhaps funding, how much more do you think is needed? And in terms of land size, I suppose, how much more hazard reduction needs to be conducted?
Well, it needs to do a risk analysis of all the bush that surrounds residential areas, and if that risk is at a certain level, it needs to be the risk needs to be reduced. I mean, we have an instance in our
go ahead, Bob.
LGA where fire and rescue are planning on closing a fire station, the Western Fire Station, and this is in a situation like we're going through at present. This is just ludicrous, and I call out to the state government to reverse that decision of closing the Western Fire Station.
All right, Bob Pynsent, the Cessnock Mayor, really appreciate your time this morning, and quite right, the terrific work from firefighters yesterday has helped that particular area in the Hunter Valley dodge a bullet, if we can call it that, and thankful this morning, Laura, that that threat has eased while conditions have come down a bit.